Hi, Mayor.
Hey, how you, Rachel? Hope you're doing
I
well.
am well. I am well. Thank you all for joining us. We are now part of what's happening in Roseville live with Mayor Ronnie Currin. My name is Rachel Morris, and I'm the Executive Director of the Roseville Chamber of Commerce. And I have here with me the one and only Mayor Ronnie Currin.
Well, thank you. I know you are out of town having a good time, but things are going well here. Um, I don't know if you was here for the fireworks show a couple weeks ago, but I think that was the big event here in town that we had. That was, I think, I can proclaim it to be successful. It was a lot of people turned out. In fact, more people turned out than we thought would. So, great
It
success.
was it was definitely successful, Mayor. I can tell you from just the crowd of people. I went over to Food Lion just before everything started. And just from the excitement from everyone who was walking with their chairs, from the kids and everything. So I must say kudos to the Parks and Rec Department. I know that they did a lot of work to make things happen. I know that it was great to pull it together, and people in the community were just happy to actually be out and doing something again. And they were happy to be able to do it here in our community. So definitely kudos to Parks and Rec Department, to everyone that had a part of that, including all of the volunteers. It was a great show. The band was phenomenal. I was receiving text messages about the band and people asking questions, and people were so excited even before it actually started when they found out who the band was. So definitely excitement from a lot of people. Great responses. The food trucks were good, Mayor. I mean, everything all around, just full circle. Wonderful show.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect weather. It wasn't real hot. It was just a nice, perfect environment for it. And I think the turnout was really good. I just wonder with the turnout this year, if the word gets out, what will next year be like? That's, we're going to have to be ready for that for sure. And you're right. The Parks Department did a great job of hosting and getting things ready for that. And I have to get the chief will be on later, and the police department did a really. In fact, most people complain about traffic and stuff. And in fact, I saw a couple positives online after the event that even the traffic situations went well. So really, no complaints at all, and we can't be any more pleased than that for sure.
Well, and I know for anyone, if you live in the villages, which is right there, right behind Redford Place, you understand and you know when things like this happen, you already have your backup routes kind of in place and you know how to navigate if you need to get out and get to the Food Lion or get to anything before, the roads really shut down. But traffic did not get bad. I mean, even I went out and kind of went around and was able to navigate through town, no problems, no anything. So I can definitely say that things ran smoothly for the 4th of July celebration. But I think it's even fitting to talk about that, considering when we look at who our guests are tonight on the show, we have Meredith from the Planning Department and Chief Simmons from the Roseville Police Department. So I think this is a great segment into that, especially when we look at bringing Meredith on to talk a little bit about what's happening in planning, kind of how the planning process work, and kind of what the perspective is for some of the new projects that are coming up. So Mary, do you want me to go ahead and bring her in?
Yes, bring her in. Welcome to the show, Meredith.
Thank
Really,
you.
really, I think Rachel set a great stage for you there. Um, I know the planning department is somewhat a busy department in Rolesville, probably to say the least, with all that we have going on. And I know you and your staff works very hard in trying to really do things today that really makes a difference 10, 15, maybe 25, 30 years from now in the way we plan the town and the way we grow. I mean, we are going to grow. I mean, that is for a fact. It's just a matter of planning on how we do that. And it's great to have you on this show. Thank you for doing that. First of all, kind of give us a bio of who you are, your kind of your history, and I know you've been in your position here for about a year now, coming close to your anniversary. So how's
Yes,
it going so far?
it's going great. I'm very excited to be celebrating my 1 year anniversary with the Town of Rolesville Planning Department as of next Tuesday. So it's been a great year, a lot of good things going on. And you asked a little bit about my background. I am a landscape architect and a planner, and I've spent 75% of my career in the public sector. That's where my heart is. And the other 25% was in the private sector. So I've been on the development side from the private side. So I have that perspective to bring to the public sector.
Yeah, I know, and it's probably good to have a little bit of both experiences. I would say because they have to fit together, they have to work together. In fact, you got to understand both sides to be able to really work together to be successful. I think, and that makes a great mix there. I am going to say, you used to work in Cary. I think maybe assistant director over there. Now in Rolesville, what is different about Rolesville, or what do you like more about Rolesville?
There are several things I've really enjoyed about Rolesville and some things I like more. I will say, first and foremost, the people have been fantastic. I guess we're still a smaller town, and there's so much warmth when I meet people, from residents coming in to ask questions to you and the commissioners to developers. Everyone has been warm and friendly, and I love that. And when I first came to Rolesville, and still right now, I see so much potential. It's such a beautiful place, and we have a lot to work with, and we have a lot of exciting things going on. And as a planner, it is so much fun and so exciting to be at this place in development. So to be able to make sure things are going to end up well in the future, like you were saying, good planning can stretch out. I think you were saying, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I think, let's push it out to 40 or 50 years. Good planning right now is going to help future generations.
Yeah, exactly. And you was talking about, good things, how you enjoy and stuff like that. But, everything is not fun. So what's the hardest thing about, being the director of planning in roles? So what's the hardest or the most difficult thing you find?
You know what? This week has had some challenges. What's been difficult this week has been dealing with some stormwater notice of violations and some concerned citizens. And it's tough because there's some, frustration in certain areas around certain projects where there's a notice of violation, and you have to take time and go out and visit the sites. We partner with Wake County Environmental Services for our stormwater review. So we are working with them on that. So I've been coordinating with them. I think I've probably corresponded with at least 20 different residents this week about stormwater concerns. We had the bad rain last weekend. And on one hand, I've really enjoyed corresponding with the residents and, some people I'm getting to know. And on the other hand, it's tough to feel their frustration and want to be able to solve problems quickly when it does take a little time to make things better.
Yeah, I think a lot, some people may think, the planning director, planning department, all you're doing is approving plans and bringing more and more people in town and checking boxes and those type things. But definitely there's more to it than that. You're serving the public in many ways, even the ones that already live here, not the future residents, because you are making decisions of future people that being here in the future, what their life will be like living here. Mm-hmm. But also the people that live here is depending on the planning department for solving issues and stuff.
Yes, absolutely. We get staff, or my staff, and I get calls all the time on a daily basis from our current residents wanting to know what's going on near my property, what's going on down the street. And what's really been helpful, and this week is another great example, when people call in and ask questions, they're helping us. They are eyes on the community. I spoke to a resident today, and she had questions about a barrier being removed on Teague Street. There's construction going on at Regency at Heritage, next to where her neighborhood is, and just asking questions about it helped me understand what was going out in the field, because I can't see everything every day. So talking to her and understanding what was going on with that project was really helpful. And I've talked to some other people about community engagement and projects. And I think I'm trying to remember what I thanked the other person about Eyes in the Field. Someone said she hoped she wasn't bothering me, asking questions. And I said, you are absolutely not bothering me. I said, you are helping by letting me know what's going on. And if there's an issue, we can see what we can do to help. I think there were some construction materials located near Redford Place Park. And, we looked online and saw that that's where the proposed Parker Ridge development is, but that development hasn't even been to the planning board yet, so there shouldn't be any activity. We were able to find out that the city of Raleigh was doing a utility project, and we were able to let that citizen know what was going on, and helped us also. We found out that a project wasn't doing something they weren't supposed to be doing.
Right, and that was a public utility too. So.
Yes, yeah,
exactly. We mentioned earlier that your department helps shapes the town, the town's future and stuff. So, what do you? And I know you're kind of the arm that implements the vision the board has for the town, and the board's vision a lot of times comes from the citizens. So, really, we're trying to implement what the citizens through the officials, through your group. So, what are you doing, I guess, now? What do you think you see now that is taking place through all those mechanisms, the board and the planning department, that's striving to make Rolesville great?
Ooh. One thing I've noticed with you and the commissioners, two things. You mentioned the vision for the future and, what have I heard from you all and to help us make Rolesville great. So those two things are the comprehensive plan and traffic. And we have two upcoming projects. One is to update our comprehensive plan. And just in case anyone hasn't looked at it, you can search for comprehensive plan on the Town of Rolesville's website. But our comprehensive plan is a big picture vision. It's a guiding document that has goals and policies and future land use designations. And it's the big picture. It's our goals. And then other things we do fall underneath that. And we use our goals and those policies to help guide decision making. So that plan was adopted in 2017. And it's a good planning practice to update your comprehensive plan, every 5 years, especially if you're a fast growing community like Rolesville, like we are. And I'm excited to get that going. And there'll be an opportunity for the community to come out to public meetings and give input. And we'll be looking at what we did back in 2017 and figuring out what we need to do to update that. And some of that will come into play with the future land use. And then I also mentioned traffic. We also have some money in this year's budget to do a corridor traffic study for Averett, Young, and Rolesville Road. I've heard from you, Mayor Currin, and then the commissioners and quite a few residents of Rolesville about the traffic concerns in that corridor. And by doing this corridor long traffic study, we hope that will end up with something like a development allocation to help us make decisions on future development. And what I mean by development allocation is if we have this certain corridor and we want the road to function at a certain level, how many more houses can we put in there and still have the road function at a reasonable level? So I hope the study will help us figure that out, and that can help you, Mayor Currin, and the commissioners in our community make good decisions on rezoning requests and other projects moving forward after we get that done. So I'm excited to see how that comes out.
Yeah, and I agree. I think we do hear a lot about, let's not grow too fast where we'd be too much traffic or congestion. But I do hear on the other side a little bit has to do with more shopping opportunities, food opportunities, and those type things. And a lot of those is at the mercy of the private developer. I mean, if no one wants to put a restaurant here, we can't make that happen. That. But we are doing some things, I think, to entice or to recruit, maybe the good word for more retail. Is that something that you can talk a little bit about, Meredith?
Absolutely. We'll have to, of course, mention Michael McFarland, our economic development manager. He and I work closely together, and I know he's always talking to businesses and companies about coming to Rolesville. And actually, we're in a meeting today, and a developer was interested in bringing 2 restaurants to Rolesville along Rogers Road. So hopefully, we'll see that come in sometime soon. But you mentioned we try to be very helpful when people call and ask questions about doing commercial development, like adding restaurants to Rolesville. Like in the meeting today, I made a point of saying to the developer, hey, our residents are asking for more restaurants. We'd be excited to have you. Let me walk you through the process so you understand what you're getting into and can prepare for it adequately. And at the end of the meeting, the developer and his engineer thanked Mike and I for our help, and hopefully we'll see them soon with a plan submittal for that. So we try to be friendly and helpful to everyone. And when people ask questions, we let them know that commercial is a priority for development in Rolesville. I know if residents want it, it'll be great for our tax base also.
Good, yeah, and I think that'll be exciting when we do get those more. We have, I always have to say, we have great restaurants already.
We do.
And it's not that we don't have them. It's just I think having more of them would draw more people and
Absolutely.
more activities and stuff. And but we do have some great restaurants already.
Absolutely, I've had some great meals recently in Rolesville.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think another thing, and maybe you can talk about how close your department works with it, is parks and other amenities around recreation, those type of things. A lot of people want those. Mm-hmm. And, how from a planning perspective are we handling that?
Well, one way we handle that is with our land development ordinance. That is the document that has all of our development regulations. Our land development ordinance includes requirements for open space or community gathering space in every development. And some of that open space needs to be active and some of it needs to be passive. And active means where people could participate in something. That could be a playground, it could be a pickleball court. And passive is green space where you can sit and relax and enjoy or walk. So we do require that kind of space in every development. So it's sort of like having mini parks in every neighborhood or development. And we've also been focusing on and collaborating with our Parks and Recreation Department on greenways. Greenways are such a priority, I think, for you all and everyone in our community. And we're working hard to get those connected. And we look at every plan that comes through to see what kind of greenway connection can be made and what other pedestrian connections can be made to link our greenway network and parks and open space.
Yeah, you mentioned LDO. That's something new. We used to have UDO, mm-hmm. And maybe you could explain the difference between the two if you have time. But
sure.
I guess the question is, we like you said, we changed from the UDO to the LDO. We was in the process, I think, when you came aboard, mm-hmm. And that was kind of led by our last director, mm-hmm. Danny Johnson. Now that we've had it probably a year, I think this month may be a year anniversary of the mm-hmm. LDO, I believe. How's it working? Do you feel like it's working? Do you feel like it's serving the purpose of what we were trying to do there?
Yeah, it's been great to have the LDO. And as someone who came in a year ago, had to learn both the UDO and the LDO, and I'm really enjoying the LDO a lot more. I think we have a lot of great requirements. One difference in the LDO that I think our residents can get excited about, we have more teeth as far as tree preservation goes in our land development ordinance, or LDO. So any new development needs to save 10%, at least 10% of the trees on site. And that's something that was not in our UDO. So I think that is super positive. And I know you mentioned what's the difference between the UDO and the LDO. I just think it's interesting that the UDO was first created in the early 2000s. And then so some of the regulations definitely needed some updating. And then our LDO went into effect June of 2021. So we're a little over a year on that. And I mentioned I like the tree preservation and the open space. And we also have some new zoning districts in the LDO, We have a town center district, a neighborhood center, activity center, and a regular or just a plain activity center. And those give some options for mixed use and the development community, hopefully to get a little more creative and the residents to participate and get excited about that and give some input. So I think those are some good things about the LDO.
Yeah, I think so, and we want to have to see how it works out. I agree. I mean, some of those elements is really exciting. I think it's a little bit different from some of the other towns. You know, a lot of places have all the commercial in one big spot and all the residentials, in another big spot. And this kind of mixes it all in where you have residential and commercial little pockets together where it's more like a neighborhood. I think maybe.
Yes, I think that's a great point. And what I think is so fantastic about that type of planning is it's helping us make Rolesville more walkable. So if you can leave your home and go walk and get that cup of coffee or a nice salad for lunch, this keeps some traffic off the road and makes your life easier and healthier.
Exactly. You mentioned a comp plan earlier, and some people confuse between the difference between a comp plan and a zoning
Right.
zoning plan or the zoning
Sure.
actual zoning. Maybe explain the difference. Is there a difference, and how do you explain the difference between zone and comp plan?
Okay. Well, the comprehensive plan, as I mentioned before, is a big picture. And our comp plan includes the future land use map. So, for example, a future land use category might be, or it is, medium density residential. And medium density residential is single family housing, townhomes, and maybe some multifamily or duplexes. And a few different zoning districts may fit into medium density residential. So the comp plan piece might house a couple different zoning districts. And again, comp plan is policy and guidance, and zoning is law. Zoning is what you can do with your property. And what if you ask for rezoning, you might ask for a different zoning district because there's something else you want to do, but that would have to be approved by the town board. So zoning is law, and future land use designation is guidance and policy.
Right. It's kind of guide you on how you want to, how it's supposed to be zoned. Maybe
Yes. It informs the right zoning district, and it might be more than one, but it informs the vision for a place, and then the zoning helps you with the details of developing that place.
Yeah, you mentioned our hardworking Michael McFarland a few minutes ago, and you're working with him. I know one of the things that he's been working on is a commercial feasibility study. And once we get to that point, it probably come into your documents, into the comprehensive plan and maybe future zoning. So I guess that's a change in vision a little bit, or maybe we're trying to do something different. Maybe describe what you see. Is that a different envision, and is that something that we it's important for us to work hard in trying to achieve?
Sure. I know with the commercial growth feasibility study, and that's available on the town's website, I think it's not completely different from what's in our comprehensive plan right now. I think it adds to what's in our comprehensive plan right now. And it studied the 401 corridor and what kind of commercial mixed use or light industrial development could happen there, and how that could be integrated within our community. And this study is simply that, a study. And when we update our comprehensive plan, we will use that study to help inform potential changes to our future land use map. So that will be one piece that informs the comp plan update. Working with the community will be another major piece that informs that update. But it's exciting to talk about that commercial growth feasibility study because it will add another layer of dimension. Sorry, my cat's walking in. This is Harry. You kind of see a little bit of adds another layer of dimension to what and how we'll grow in Rolesville.
Exactly. You mentioned your website a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people. They get their information from Facebook and these other places, and I'll see things on there like talking about like a roundabout in the center of town and things like that. That's very much not true, but if they was to use this site rather than Facebook, they probably could get some better information. So
Facebook can be fun.
Yeah, show us what you have there.
Sure. I wanted to show everyone how to access our development projects webpage, because one of the most frequent questions our planning staff gets is what's going on. So if you go to the Town of Rolesville homepage, which is what you see now, and then click on development projects, it's on the left side in the middle, this page will come up. And then with this one, there's an option to click to make this map larger, and I like to do that. So if we go to the next slide, it'll take you into the map and you can zoom into whatever area you're interested in. And in this case, I've zoomed into an area on the south side of Main Street, and you can see I've clicked on it and it says Parker Ridge. And if there's a development somebody wants to look at, click on it and you can see the blue highlighted text in the box. And then if you click on that, it will take you to the project web page. And then you see documents. There are all kinds of documents. You can check out the application that was submitted. You can look at the concept plan. And the next slide will show the concept plan. So this usually a concept plan or a construction document or something like that, or a site plan, a site development plan, or what people want to see because they're curious as to what is being proposed in an area. So this is an example of a concept plan that will be presented as part of a rezoning case. And this development is still under review by our technical review committee. And what the technical review committee is, it's made up of staff, Wake County Fire and Environmental Services, NCDOT, City of Raleigh Utilities. And then we have a consultant who helps us with engineering review and also one with planning review. So that committee is still reviewing this plan. And there's a traffic study being done for it. I just got a draft of that back recently. And so the applicant is still making revisions, but this is what they have right now. So expect to see this coming to a planning board meeting sometime soon. But again, I just wanted to share the development projects webpage. You can have a lot of fun digging around and seeing what's going on and what's being proposed.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, we're not trying to hide anything. In fact, some of these plans may not never happen.
Right, that's right.
They haven't gone to the board for approval. There is been discussions, should we put them out there early? Should we wait until they approve plans to put them out there? Because, there's some justification for doing that.
Absolutely.
But I think we made a decision to put everything out there as soon as you receive something,
Yes.
so the public has full awareness of what is coming to us.
Yes, one thing, you're exactly right. We're trying to be as transparent as possible. One thing that we put up that I don't see in some other communities, we put all the comments up that the applicants are getting on their plans. If someone wants to get into the weeds or the details on what's being reviewed and how the ordinance requirements are being applied, when you saw the list of the documents on a project webpage, one of those documents or multiple documents will be the comments that the applicant is getting on the plan. And you can check out and see what they've missed from the LDO or what's being required to be changed. So you can get all kinds of information on the development projects webpage.
Exactly. And I think I like it to be completely transparent.
Mm-hmm.
I know like this Parker Ridge, the one you just shown, the town board has not seen it.
Nope.
I haven't seen it. And it's very much in the development stage. And but anybody that wants to see it, instead of going to Facebook and hearing information on it, they could go right here and like you said, it's got everything that we know about it, even comments and everything else in there on this particular one, and all of them really.
Yes.
And we have probably maybe 7, 8, 9 under review at all times?
Oh, at least I would say at least that many rezonings under review. You can also on that page you can find the construction infrastructure documents that are being reviewed or some other site development plans. Anything that we're reviewing, you can find on that page.
Right. Well, I see Rachel's coming back. I tell you, 30 minutes doesn't do us justice. There's so much more we could talk about. But real quick, before my last question, before we get you off here, we kind of started off with your department is planning that things that can that will be here in 5, 10, 20, 25 years from now. What do you vision 25 years from now? What will Rolesville look like?
Oh, wow. I love that question.
From what you're seeing and being developed, what will Rolesville look like in 25 years?
I think Rolesville in 25 years will be several times bigger than what we have right now. People will be walking around on the greenways, eating at various restaurants, shopping, enjoying life. And I would like to also invite the public to start thinking about that question and the answer to that question. I think we'll be asking that at one of our comprehensive plan update community meetings. So great question.
That's a good thing to close on. Rachel, was it anything from any of the public that?
No, we did not, Mayor. So things are rolling along tonight.
All right. Well, I thank you, Meredith.
Certainly.
This has been a really good. You guys are doing a great job. Thank your staff. What they do.
They are fantastic.
I know it's hard work. It's got to be hard work. It's a job. So, and we really appreciate all the effort that goes in there. Really
Thank you so much.
And your job and your work, you see that every day. You drive by, you see the results of what you do, because that's what grows out of the ground is what you do. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, Rachel, that was a great few minutes with Meredith, our planning director. And,
yes, it was, Mayor. Yes, it was.
We're fortunate to have two great leaders here in town that works for the citizens, and Meredith is one, and the chief is the other. And if he's ready, bring him out.
I'm pretty sure he is. Look, hey, Chief.
Hey, Mr. Mayor. Hey, Rachel.
We'll get him rolling. Did you have anything for the chief to start with, Rachel?
No. I know Chief can handle everything. Look, we talked earlier today, so he's well prepared, and I know he has all the information to share. And of course, if there's something that we have some other things I'll pop up on the background to make sure you have that important information. But outside of that, Mayor, I think we're good. Chief's ready and prepared.
Let's jump into it then, Chief. Good to have you on. I mean, I get to see you a lot, and you do a great job. Your whole team, the police department is amazing. And in today's environment, some towns struggle with that a little bit, and we don't. I mean, you do a really good job over there. Our police department does a really good job, and it's just a blessing to have the kind of relationship and the dedicated officers that we have. But first, before we talk about that a little bit, maybe get into it a little bit more in detail. But tell us about Chief Dave Simmons. You've been chief now maybe a year and a half or something like that. But your roots in town goes back further, and your experience is pretty vast. So give us a little background that people don't know about the chief.
I appreciate that, and thank you for having me on tonight. Rachel and I have talked in the past about a way for me to get out and utilizing another platform to get out to the citizens. So I appreciate you having me on. I'm from Eastern Wake County, so I'm very familiar with Rolesville. I grew up right down the road, right next door in Wendell and Knightdale area. I started my law enforcement career here in Rolesville, and I spent approximately 4 years here. I loved once you get into law enforcement, you tend to find a niche that you like, whether it's investigations or mine was working traffic. So, what better place to go that does that than the highway patrol, where that's predominantly what they do. So,
Right.
um, I applied and was accepted to the 119th Basic School for the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, and I spent a few years there. I was stationed in District C, Troop C, District 4, which is Franklin, Vance, and Warren. I spent a few years there, and then I was afforded the opportunity to transfer and apply for the motorcycle unit. So then I was stationed in special operations for a little while, having aspirations to be in a supervisory role one day. There was a vacant captain position here in Rolesville that I had applied for, and I thought how neat it would be for me to make my career at this point become full circle and go back to where I began my law enforcement career. So I applied and was accepted. Stayed a captain for a couple of years, and then was appointed chief, as you said, been about a year and a half.
Well, that's great. So what brought you back to Rolesville? I mean, you went away, came back as a prodigal son. So what brought you back?
I just love this community. When I was here the first time, Chief Green, Jimmy Green at the time, he stressed to his staff, about the importance of community policing. And being a very young and brand new officer at the time, I didn't know exactly what that looked like. But over time, I began to realize how important building the relationships were within the community. Some of the community stakeholders, some of the citizens, and to me, Rolesville feels like home. And when I was here the first time, I made some long-lasting partnerships and friendships. So it just felt good for me to be able to come back because, again, Rolesville feels like home to me. It's a great community to serve in.
Well, it's good having you back. It's like a kind of a reunion in a way, and you and your staff, like we were saying earlier, is doing a great job. But I think when you see TV and you see things on the news, sometimes it's really hard for a police department. I think the times could be hard on the police department these days. But from your perspective, how is the police department in Rolesville and the community of Rolesville, how are they gelling? How are they working together?
That's a great question, and you're exactly right. It's been displayed on a lot of social media and the news across not just this county or the state, but it's nationwide, where a lot of law enforcement agencies are having some difficulty retaining employees and getting good recruits. We're very fortunate here, I'll throw a one out there, is that we do have one opening. We had a recent retirement. So we do have one open. So if there's anybody watching that would like to apply, please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about it. I think between the police department and the community, we do gel. The staff here has really bought into the organizational culture that we've tried to create in our, so to speak, our policing philosophy, and the methodology of the policing standards that we have set. We're operating at a high level of standards, and we try to maintain that. And in that, I mentioned earlier, the community policing aspect. We do a lot of different things to get out into the community and really try to bridge the gap between the citizens and law enforcement at every opportunity that we can.
Yeah, and I think you guys do a great job with that. I hear a lot of positive feedback from the citizens about the police department. They're very supportive in those type of things. And like you said, we had one retirement just a week or so ago. Somebody's a 19-year veteran here, which he dates back to when the police department like 3 or 4 people. So we kept him a long time. So I guess this question is a little bit tough because you don't get to recruit many people, but the ones, some communities is having a problem of retaining, like you said, but also having a problem recruiting. But from your recruiting, which hasn't been a big need at some communities, what do you think officers, why would they want to come here and work as a police officer?
Yes, sir. I tell everybody, in my opinion, Rolesville is the unkept secret of Wake County. It's such a great community to serve. We have a very growing and progressive police department where we encourage and support our staff to attend additional academic courses, additional training to help further their professional and personal goals that they have. We're one of the biggest things is support from the leadership. As you just talked about, to kind of the climate that we're in this profession, this day and time. So having that support means a lot to them, and I think they recognize that from our elected officials, the commissioners, yourself. So with that backing and that support of public safety, what we're trying to do here for the police department and the citizens to keep everyone safe is huge. I've been working with our HR director, Miss Austin, on numerous plans to kind of put in place to again, just to increase the recruitment and retainment efforts. We have a career ladder here. We've been very fortunate with the leadership and the board, the commissioners, allowing us to get the best equipment available for the officers to be able to go out and perform their duties. So there's a lot of factors, I think, that and as we keep discussing and we've hit on it a couple of times, it's just the community support that we have in Rolesville. It's a sense of unity and family, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're exactly right. You mentioned in what you're saying there what we're trying to do. As a chief and as you lead your department, what are you trying to do? What is the purpose of the Rolesville PD? What do you see their purpose is? I know, the general statement is, serve and protect. And, those are two things have to go hand in hand, but sometimes they're pulling against each other. So how do you make all that work?
Yes, sir. It is a balance, trying to do that. But first and foremost, our number one is, our highest priority for the police department will always be the safety and welfare of the citizens and the businesses here in the town of Rolesville. But we fall back on our mission statement. It's one that we try to live by, that and our core values. I mentioned culture earlier, and our philosophy of achieving, like how do you do the balances, clear, comprehensive guidelines, concerning our policing practices, hiring, retaining dedicated officers, all of that stuff. And, our core values are respect, service, and pride. And with that in mind, we're fair and firm with the criminal element. But we serve by giving back to the community. And there's many programs that we offer. You can go to the website and search those out if you're not familiar with them. To mention a few is our Camp Kids program. We run a summer camp, DARE. We're currently operating in, I believe it's 3 elementary schools, the DARE program in our area, bicycle rodeos, National Night Out, just to name a couple, Shot with a Cop, a turkey drive. Like I said earlier, if there's an opportunity for us to serve the community and all of the community, we want to do that at all costs.
Exactly. Change the subject just slightly here. I know Rolesville is a diverse town, and I've lived here for 30 years now, just about, and it has become a lot more diverse over the years. As we grow, we're becoming more of a diverse town, and I think, Meredith said we're going to triple in 25 years. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but that's what she said. But as we grow, I'm sure we're even going to become more and more diverse as a community. So, from a department standpoint, how you confronting that, how you confronting the change in the diversity in town, when we talk about equality and equity and stuff, what is the department doing on the lines of diversity?
Yes, sir. Well, I think, for one, it starts with we support it. by all means, we support the diversity, equity, and inclusion within the PD and in the town. I think it starts with hiring. So I'm always looking for, different ways to be able to get a more diverse staff. Again, I've been working with HR director, Miss Austin, and she's got some great ideas that we're trying to explore now to reach out beyond the bounds that we've been doing for our recruiting efforts. Right now we've been going to some high schools, local community colleges, not just here in Wake County, but we've been to Durham, Wilson, Vance, Granville. So we have started venturing out a little bit, trying to get that diverse applicant pool to be able to pull from. So, and another thing is training. I think this year, Miss Austin, all town employees have been trained on her program that she's offered for diversity, equity, inclusion. And we've added some training courses for our officers here.
Exactly. And diversity is, I think, one aspect of the community as a whole. Sometimes you see maybe big towns and places where the community and the police, lack of a better term, are adversaries. But in our community, I think our police department and our community as a whole, the whole community, somewhat works together. How important is that community support to the police department?
It's huge for us. Again, going back to what we spoke to in the beginning, as far as why would officers, want to stay in the town of Rolesville who are already employed as police officers here, or why would somebody want to come here? Once they get a sense of the community support that we have, again, it does feel like a small town, kind of that family atmosphere, so to speak. We still, you've been here for a little while now, and I think you've seen a couple of times where the community will, if it's around the holidays and they know our officers are working Christmas or Thanksgiving, or if it's National Police Week, they bring by some goodies for the officers to be able to eat during the holidays while they're working. So the community support is huge. On top of not just the community and the citizens, that's one aspect. But again, going back to the elected officials and the commissioners that we have, and you, Mr. Mayor, is y'all support behind what we're doing here, and it makes for, in my opinion, an excellent environment, to keep moving forward, and a great partnership and relationship.
Yeah, I think I see that. I think I see Meredith mentioned in her, early in her discussion, how once she came to Rolesville, it just felt like everybody, it was a community. Everybody was friendly. That's one of the things she enjoyed about, coming here and starting work, about a year ago. And I kind of see that for the police department too. Even the businesses support the police department really strongly, don't they?
They do. One of the programs I mentioned was our Shop with a Cop program, which is fully funded by donations from citizens and businesses. And every year, the businesses here in town step up, and they make sure that we have enough funds to be able to provide Christmas for some underprivileged children in and around Rolesville. So they do. They really support us.
You mentioned some of the support for the schools, the DARE programs, I think you mentioned. And,
yes, sir.
And we do have a big SRO program for the high school. Your department, we put a pretty substantial amount of resources to support the school system, especially high school, don't we, Chief?
Yes, sir, we do. We have one of the largest high schools in the county, and then it's a lot of. Some people refer to it as a mini city over there. We have two SROs that are stationed at Rolesville High School during the school year, and they do a phenomenal job out there with the kids. And one of the programs that they teach at, besides just mentoring to the students on different occasions. But they are involved in the driver's ed program, And I've been out there a couple of times and spoke to the driver's ed group that was coming through at the time. So they're immersed, and they want to be mentors to the to the students over there at the high school, and not just the high school. We have several schools right around this area, so we make a point to go by and and speak with them and make sure that we see them and they see us, and it's good to interact with the children and let them see us. On top of the DARE programs that we teach, I believe right now it's in Jones Dairy Elementary, Sanford Creek, Rolesville Charter School that we have it ongoing. So,
right. I think from a very basic level, the town could supply an officer out there, during school time to, serve as a SRO. But I personally see, being my, involvement with your group, you and your group, it's not just that SRO officer, it's yourself, the chief, it's the captain, it's the other officers. You guys are always thinking and working on ways to keep those kids safe out there. I mean, there is no guarantees in this world, I don't think, but
yes,
it's more than just putting an officer out there to watch over during school hours.
It is. It's there's a lot of stuff that we do behind the scenes. We work very closely with Wake County Public School Security in order to keep the kids safe, and again, that's a continuous process. So we typically meet several times throughout the year at each school that we have in town, and we're looking at their security, what they have in place, and if there are better practices that are available, we'll implement those. We help them with lockdown drills and numerous. There's a lot of work behind the scenes to be able to keep our kids safe every day. I was speaking with Principal Perry a couple times, and he's been working very, very well with the SROs out there on their program and what they have going on. So.
Yeah, and I've talked to him too. He's a new principal. I think he's been there maybe less than 6 months, or right around 6 months. And I really and also our elected official for our District 1. She's been very supportive and things on that too. So good relation. A lot of times it hinges on relationships. And I think you guys do a really good job of knowing and working hard that it's more than just getting the work done. It's building relationships in the process. And,
yes, sir. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I see Rachel's popping in, but before she pops in, one last question I have, Chief. Sort of like Meredith. The future. What do you see? What is department needs? In the next few years, from facilities, from services, from personnel. What is the future of the department from your perspective? Let's say 10 years from now.
Yes, sir. Like Meredith, I think the town is exploding, and then we have plenty of rooftops coming, and I'm sure the commercial is coming, like she said, behind it shortly. So as the town grows, the police department, we anticipate that growing as well. To be able to maintain the high level of customer service that we currently offer, we want to continue to do that as we grow and the citizens, continue coming to Rolesville. Some of the stuff on the radar is a new police facility in the next few years. We want to try to. We've already started laying some groundwork to get that up off the ground. And we want to try to pick a facility that will be purposeful, have a purposeful layout to be able to accommodate the future. As the town grows and the police department and staff grows, we want to increase our programs that we can offer to the citizens in the future. So,
great. Yep. Rachel, did you have a question, or anybody chime in with any questions?
We don't have any of those, but we do want to highlight for everyone this evening some key information. I know I talked to Chief Simmons about this, and we want to make sure everyone knows about the non-emergency number for the police. Like if you're trying to contact them, instead of having to call that 911, we do want to make sure we put out there that non-emergency number, which is the 919-829-1911. And that's important for people because we do understand there's some things that cause you to have to call or contact the police department. And the first thing you think is, oh, let me dial 911. Well, you don't have to do that. There is a non-emergency number. And we always want to put that out there because it's important for people to know that number and, just have it accessible and ready for them. And then I also want to thank the police department because one of the things when you talk about that community policing and kind of humanizing the badge, the police, Chief Simmons, he was great in working with us to make sure that we actually go out and welcome new residents to Rolesville. So he provides us with officers, and we kind of joke about it sometimes because this was something I actually talked about with our previous chief. We talked about, hey, what are some ways we can humanize the badge? And, one of the things that Orlando was great about is always partnering with us to do different things. And this was something that Chief Simmons said, Rachel, absolutely, we can do this. It is not a problem. And so that's something that we've been doing. It's been successful. We always joke about this because, I always say Myers has that knock, like that infamous police knock. And I always said, Myers, don't do the police knock. She's like, well, you go knock and I'll knock softly or something like that. Because when you think about it, if you don't know we're coming and we show up at your door, most people, when the police show up, it's not necessarily for something good. And so we want people to understand that they don't just come when there's something bad happening, that they do come for good things like that too. So we're excited about that initiative that we have going on in Rolesville, which is of course welcoming new residents to Rolesville. And so it may not always be the police. We're also partnering with the fire department too, so that they can also be a part of it to welcome you to our community. But it's a great initiative, traditional welcome wagon. So we're working to keep that small town feel as we grow too. So that's something too that he didn't mention. So they do a lot. When you think about what the police department does, they do an awful lot in the community that people don't realize. So that's something too I wanted to give them kudos for. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a great program.
Well, thanks, Chief. Appreciate you coming on tonight. Do you have a safety tip or any tip you want to leave the group with?
I have two real quick ones. One is lock your doors to your vehicles and your residence or whatever. But we have been hit in the last several months with unlocked vehicles. And people. We not just in Rolesville, but it's been a trend that's going on in Northeast Wake County and some other parts of the county. But people are just going through subdivisions and apartment complexes, and they're pulling on door handles. And if it's unlocked, they're going to go in there and take anything that they feel of value. So, one is make sure you're locking your doors to your cars. Second is we've also seen an increase in frauds. So schemes to get money from people. So if you they're trying to get your bank account or trying to get you to get a gift card and mail it to them or whatever. If you have a question about it and you don't know if it's legit or not, please feel free to call us anytime and run it by us. We get updates on a regular basis of news frauds and new schemes that are coming across this state and across this part of the country. So be careful of the frauds, and they've been targeting our elderly people. Some here in Rolesville. So those are my two tips for tonight. Lock your cars and be careful of the frauds. And if you have any question and you want us to verify some information, please feel free to reach out to us.
Those two good tips, Chief. And I got one that being that I hang out here some and see some things. I notice some people out in the parking lot sometimes, and I'm always talking to anybody I see. And sometimes as people come here to your police department parking lot that's doing something, selling a car or doing something on eBay or something.
Yes, sir.
And that's not a bad idea to do that rather than having them come to your house, some stranger that you don't know.
That's correct. We offer an internet exchange site. here on the north end of the building. And I've seen a lot of people, especially here recently. I've seen cars, people selling furniture. It's a safe place to come. It's under video surveillance, all sides of the building. So please take advantage of that. If you're selling or buying off the line, come and meet here at the police department.
Well, thank you, Chief. Appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you both.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Chief. And I'll go ahead and bring Meredith back on too, so we can wrap it up.
Your time has expired quickly, hasn't it? It always does. It goes by quick. But great show. Appreciate both of you coming in. Y'all are great staff, leaders of the staff here in town of Rolesville, and really doing a great job, and really appreciate what y'all are doing.
Great. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
Same here. Thank you both.
You're making a difference for our citizens, and thank you for that. So, Rachel, I think we will kind of wrap up this one. I know from a chamber standpoint, anything you guys got going on that you want to mention this month or coming up in the next few weeks?
We have a workshop coming up next week, and that is actually with First Citizens Bank. We'll be coming out to do a little education for us, and that is on July 19th with Natasha Miller with First Citizens Bank. She will be coming out actually to talk about a couple of things, which you can find information on our website. And then after that, Mayor, we have our State of the Town address, which is happening in August. So more information coming out about that soon to let people know that will be held at the Renaissance Center. And so we're excited about that because that is something for the community. We will have information on how you can access that as far as being able to come out if you want to actually listen to it in person and hear from Mayor Currin about kind of where we are in Rolesville, what things have looked like. I don't want to give away too much, but definitely excited about that.
Great. And we'll close. It's not many shows, I don't think we do, Rachel, that we don't mention Downtown Farmers Market. And, they are doing a really great job this summer. If you haven't been, it's Saturday mornings. If you haven't been, make sure you go to that. And they got a lot of vendors now. I mean, it's really taken off. So I want to put a closing plug in for them again because they are doing such a great job and working so hard down there.
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you all so much for joining. For those that definitely come back and watch the streams afterwards, if you have any questions, we have the contact information for Meredith and for Chief Simmons scrolling at the bottom. You can always reach out to them or reach out to us at the Chamber of Commerce. We're always welcome to assist you in any way that we can.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you, guys.